What's good, YouTube? Quasar here. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys my anti-meta profile. So this deck basically shits on all the meta, and I'm going to just jump right into it and show you why. So 3 copies of Fossil Dino, of course. This guy makes it so neither player can special summon. It's a walking Vanity's Emptiness. It's only 1200 attack, but we have ways to play around with that. We're also playing 1 copy of Barrier Statue of Torrent. This is literally the only Barrier Statue I have. I would like the Rock one, but I guess this guy works. He only really kind of fucks you over if you're playing against Mermails, but who plays Mermails these days because they're fucking trash. Oh yeah, and the fucking Paleozoic Frogs are now out, so fuck them as well. 2 copies of Thunder King Ryo. Let's get the gold rare on top, because, like, again, first world Yu-Gi-Oh problems. I have 2. One's a common, one's gold, but what are you gonna do? I'm not dropping $50 just to have, like, some shiny ones. This stops it from either player searching their deck. They can still draw, though, so essentially Upstart Goblin still is a thing, but things like Rhoda, for example, won't let you search. If your opponent were to special summon while this guy's on the field, you can also just tribute to negate, so that's also really good. I'm glad this guy's at 2. It really helps out the deck. 2 copies of Ariande. We are playing a very counter trap heavy deck, so these are your only pendulum monsters. You basically want to throw this guy in the scale, so you aren't having to deal with paying life points or discarding for your counter traps. And then lastly, for monsters, I am maining 2 copies of Cherries. Once you know what you're playing against, you're going to want to just pitch this. Most of the time, yeah, your opponent's going to be having more monsters on board than you are, so this guy's always live, and we just stacked our extra deck with basically everything that the meta is playing right now. So, if your opponent's playing Frogs, pitch this, reveal Totally Awesome. If your opponent's playing ABCs, reveal this, pitch this, reveal the ABC. So yeah, it's a really low monster count, but that's really all you need. There's a lot of spell and trap support. So going on to the spells, we play 3 copies of Moon Mirror Shield. This is so crucial in this deck because you're going to want to equip it onto something like your Fossil Dino. It makes it so your Fossil Dino, whenever it battles, it makes its attack or defense equal to either your opponent's monster's attack or defense, whatever is stronger, plus 100. So if your opponent has a monster, for example, that's just like 2000 attack, your Fossil Dino is then going to become a 2100 attack and get over it. So your opponent is not going to want to attack into your Fossil Dino, because they will always lose because Moon Mirror Shield is equipped to it. If this card ends up in the graveyard, you can just pay 500 life points and put it either on top or on bottom of your deck. So it's always recyclable. Want to be playing 3 because you want to see it as soon as possible and equip it onto your monsters to keep them alive. 3 copies of Pot of Desires. Resolving 2 of them is probably the most you're going to be doing. You probably might only resolve 1 each game, but it's a +1. You obviously want to be playing it. It's so good that, like, I want to just play it at 3 and see it as soon as possible just to get that additional draw. I'm also playing 3 copies of Card of Demise. You don't special summon anyways, and because most of your deck is back row, this card almost never hurts you. Activate it as the last card in your hand, draw 3 cards. Hopefully it's all just back row and you can just set it and your opponent just won't be able to play after that. We are also playing 3 copies of Pot of Duality just so you can search out your combo pieces as soon as possible. 1 copy of Dimensional Fissure. This card is nuts when you have, like, for example, your Fossil Dyna equipped with Moon Mirror Shield, because you're going to be able to beat over everything. All of your opponent's monsters are going to be sent to the banished zone rather than sent to the graveyard, so that's really good. For field spells, we play 1 copy of Seal of Orichalcos, 1 copy of Necro Valley, and then, of course, we are playing a Terraforming just to search out either one of them. Unfortunately, the Seal does not steal your opponent's soul. It would be nice, but oh well. It gives your monster a 500 attack boost, which is actually really useful. It makes things like Thunder King 24 pretty much any normal summoned monster would lose to that. While it's on the field, if it were to be destroyed once, then it wouldn't be. They'd have to like waste 2 MSTs in order to get over something like this. Since you're basically almost never special summoning from the extra deck as well, this would destroy all special summoned monsters from the extra deck, but there's no really downfall there, because the only time you do special summon from the extra deck is when you would activate what's it called, Starlight Road. And that's also if you don't have something like Fossil Dyna face up, where you would be able to special summon it. Necro Valley is really good against today's meta because, things like ABCs are banishing from grave, but if you have Necro Valley face up, anything in the grave can't be moved outside of the grave, so it stops a lot of their plays. And then, as I said, just to search. The 1 Regeki, of course, still just to nuke boards. And of course 1 Upstart, because who doesn't love a 39 card deck? Moving on to the traps. 3 copies of Ultimate Providence. Negate a spell, trap, or monster effect by discarding a card of the same type, spell, trap, or monster. But with Ariande face up in your pendulum zone, you're not going to be having to discard, so it's essentially a free negate, right? So that's really solid. Most people are playing things like Solemn Strike, so if you wiretap that, they lose their shit because they paid 1,500 life points for nothing, essentially. Speaking of people playing 3 strikes, you still have to play 3 because you want to stop your opponent as much as possible. And again, if you do have Ariande in the scale, you're not paying the life points. Same with Warning. If your opponent does end up getting over your Ariande, though, you at least get to reveal, whatever counter trap you need. And because you are playing 3 of each, hopefully you can reveal all 3 of the copy that you need. Add it to your hand, set it, and then just shit on your opponent. For my last 2 cards, I play 1 copy of Macro Cosmos, again, just to get everything banished rather than sending their cards to the graveyard. Once it's banished, it's a lot more difficult to work around or get it back or just like reuse, because a lot of cards nowadays have effects that activate in the grave. So that's why we are playing your Dimensional Fissure. We have Macro Cosmos, of course, and also the Necro Valley helps as well. I like Starlight Road just because a lot of people are playing Twin Twister. This is a back row heavy deck, and Twin Twister actually qualifies for the effect of Starlight Road. If they try to pop your back row, activate this. Maybe you can special summon your sweet looking ghost rare Stardust, but even if you don't summon it, it's okay. You still negate that effect. Um, but special summoning Stardust would be pretty sweet too. If you get him on board, equip Moon Mirror Shield, you're pretty much going to be winning that duel. So I do have an extra deck, but as I said, the Stardust is the only thing you're going to be special summoning from it. And that is if you can even special summon if you don't have like your barrier statue or your fossil Dyna face up. It's not even really needed. You can go duels without dropping this guy, but it's just a nice option to have. Now, I'm playing just basic 14 targets for cherries. ABCs. Your opponent's playing ABCs, you have Buster. If your opponent is playing things like Metal Foes, you have your Ori Hulk, you have your Alka-Heist. If your opponent was playing like something to do with heroes, you have Dark Law. Pendulums, you have Vortex. That's probably their strongest extra deck monster. Zolkin's getting pretty popular. A lot of different decks try to utilize Zolkin, so having this guy is just icing on the cake, I guess you could say. Crystal Wing, really difficult synchro to get over. Same with Omega, so a lot of synchro decks are playing these two. So getting rid of them would definitely stop your opponent from a lot of their plays. If you're playing against Blue Eyes, get rid of their Spirit Dragons. Frogs are now a thing, so you gotta have Totally Awesome in there. Against something like the PK Fire matchup, you have your Dante and you have your Breaksword. Pretty much any deck that can go into a rank 4 plays Lightning. Lightning's a really dirty monster, so getting rid of that is just all the better. And then lastly, number 38, like Blue Eyes again, you're probably going to be seeing this guy, so getting rid of him just makes the duel a lot easier for you. So yeah, that's it for the main and extra, although the extra is just straight up cherry targets. That's my deck. It's been testing very well against the meta because obviously it's just shitting all over them by banishing their stuff, not letting them play. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.